Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner and to the last Cardfight deck profile I've got for the time being. It's going to be an updated 7 Seas deck, Granblue, you know, Pirates, Fidelity, Yarr, har, har, all that stuff. Like, we know what this deck does at this point. It's been meta ever since it came out in set 6, and it still is meta despite set 7, and Fighter Selection, in my opinion, doing more to hurt the deck than help it, as I'd say Granblue's fallen a bit down in Tier 1. Like, it's still one of the best decks in the format. It's just not a top 3 deck anymore. I'd say it's more of a top 5 deck. With that being said, though, this should hopefully be a quick video as I haven't changed a whole lot in my list, just a couple cards. So, starting Vanguard is Peter the Ghosty, thrown to the soul, mill 2, draw 1, and then for the other grade 0, I'm running Grenache. For the unflipping, I can mill it, I can thin it out of the deck through the effect of Obadiah, or sometimes draw it and call it. 10k shield can be revived on flips 2. Basically, if you run Night Rose in your main deck, in your extra deck, then you run Grenache. Then for the grade 3s, my ratio has not changed at all, so 4 break rides and 3 pledge tons. Then for the grade 2s, I'm running 3 Negro Rooks, 3 Cannoneers, 2 Slash Shades, and now 2 copies of Columbard, the Amber clone. So on attack, when it's boosted and swing with the Vanguard, counterblast 1, GB1, choose a unit from drop zone, call it. So this card is very good at helping you maintain a board if you're up against something like Shadows. It helps you get extra attacks off, as you can swing with the rear guard, swing with this guy, use its skill, call a new unit to rear guard, and it can be anything. So you can call a Negro Rook and then have it hollow and swing for 16, and then you can kill off the Negro Rook in order to call out Slash Shade, and thus you happen to get, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks off? Something around those lines. So he's very good for that. And you don't have to haul him for anything. Then 1 copy of Pakor, Soul Blast 1. If you have a face-up Cray Elemental in your G zone, you can you can unlock a unit, which is very good for the Link Joker matchup. As you can just pull out of the graveyard for the effect of your Night Mist Stride, unlock a unit, and then let it die so they can't lock it, and then just do it again until they run out of Chaos Universes. As that's really the only way Link Joker is going to get locks on you, is if they universe you, and just keep universing you. Then for the grade 1s, 4 Perfect Guard Gs, 4 Stride Assists, 3 Night Crows, and only 3 Dancing Cutlass. I found them to be way too clumpy now that I'm not as going turbo hard into paint as I was before. You may notice I'm not running Rune Shades either. It's because the games go on longer and my G Guardian mills, so the risk of decking up becomes very real. So I've cut back on the amount of turbo milling I do, and I instead use Dancing Cutlass to use my soul to set up my drop zone. And then for the Trakers, let's see, I'm running 8 crits, 4 of the Mick the Ghosty Stand Trigger. When it's called from drop zone, you can buff the unit by 10k, then he gets the ability to go into the deck if he is killed from rear guard, i.e. you call 2 of these things over your Night Crows, and then you sack him off your Night Crows. He goes back into the deck, and now you have the potential to flip 2 stand triggers during your your super big play. And then finally, 4 heal triggers. So, yeah, not a whole lot has changed. I just increased my stand trigger count from 2 to 4, and I added in a couple grade 2s. Then for the extra deck, to be perfectly honest, Granblue's extra deck is probably the least tight of them all, because all you really need are 4 Night Mist as your main stride. Games generally do not go to the point where you'll go through all 4 of them. You'll either be dead or they'll be dead, especially factoring in your 2 Night Roses. Like, these are the only offensive strides you will really need, and then you just play like 1 Obadiah, and that's really it. And then like you can fill out the rest of the extra deck with G Guardians and whatnot, but I am running some cards in here that have some situations to come up. But anyway, we'll go over the other effects. So Night Mist, if you have a 7 Seas Vanguard heart, you can counterblast 1, call 2 from drop zone, they die in the end of turn. Night Rose, counterblast 2, G flip herself, on attack, call a column. Obadiah, of which I'm running 2 in here. When it's placed on Vanguard, you can Foolish Burial 3 cards, i.e. send them from deck to graveyard, and then you can call a normal unit with a ghosty name behind the Vanguard circle if 2 of those 3 units you sent were hollow units. And then 1 on hit, call 1 from drop zone. 1 basically sack 2, call 2 in place of them. he's just good for getting Night Crows out of the way if you want to call 2 copies of your stand triggers out and buff your front row by 10k each. Doesn't come up. These are basically used as G-assist cards. 1 Sabreeze to turn on your GB1 skills, and then 5 G-Guardians, 3 of the Granblue one where you mill 2 to have it gain 5k. You don't really use it that often, but it's still there. 1 Dismal because I don't own a second Screw, who is ridiculous in this deck because you can just pitch anything from your hand and set up your drop zone for its 10k shield effect. So, yeah, short video, but again, it's just it's 7 Cs, and I've already explained the deck ad nauseum before in my last profile of it, so I'll link to that if you want to hear the nitty gritties of it. But basically, this deck is still very good, and it's an advantage gaining tempo deck that can grind, and it still has its good matchups, i.e. Kagero is prevalent in the format, so obviously playing a deck that's kind of resistant to having its cards blown up all the time is very, very good. Although Denial Griffin can be a problem, and what's his name? Not Endless Flare Dragon. Defeat Flare Dragon can also kind of ruin your play, as it makes it so that your column boards can't do anything. So that's an issue. But otherwise, though, like, you should still have a very good Kagero matchup, and your Link Joker matchup should also be very good, provided you're able to constantly haul your units off and let them die. That way, Chaos Universe can't call anything. If they can't Chaos Universe and keep a guy on there, then they basically they don't get much value out of their locks. And let's see, you're good against most other removal based decks such as Narukami. Like Brawlers can struggle against this. Yeah, and then you're very aggressive too, so you can outpace slower decks such as Shadows. At least Diablo, at least I've noticed. Although Diablo can still like potentially kill you because of the Diablo donking, but you're basically as fast as Royals are once you get your drop zone set up, which is very nice. And yeah, that's about all I can really say about this list. So we'll just wrap it up here, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, this is Blue Star 9, jacking out.